Today, we're going to talk about something different. Normally, my videos are about video games, Call of Duty, you name it. But today, I want to talk about my college football experience. If you guys don't know, I played Division I college football, and I also spent a little bit of time at junior college, but I want to explain my whole entire experience. I wanted to share with you guys what I went through in college football, and if you are trying to grind to get to college, maybe you'll learn a thing or two. I started off in junior college. A lot of people do not know this. I'm a little older for playing college football, which that's just how it happened. I didn't mean for that to happen. It's just how it happened. So I graduated high school in 2019. I had some offers, but they were nothing that I wanted, but also I was academically ineligible. We're not going to spend too much time on that whole thing. Long story short story, even shorter. I was academically ineligible out of high school. So that led me to go to Laney College. If you guys don't know Laney College, it was on season 5 of Last Chance U with Coach Beam, Ray, RJ, Dior, and New. Rest in peace, Coach Beam. I didn't even play when I first got to Laney. I decided to tell Coach Beam I wasn't ready to play. I had a hamstring problem, and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to play. He didn't really take that too well, so I ended up transferring to Diablo Valley College. My granny worked there, my grandmother, and the head coach absolutely loved me. But this was at a time where I wasn't able to play because I just told Coach Beam that I was not able to play because of my hamstring. So I sat the whole season. I was just going to practice, watching, just talking to all the guys. Most of these guys played with me in high school, or I knew from 7-on-7 and college camps, this, that, and third. So the season ends, 2019 over with. We're going into spring. And everyone knows 2020 COVID hit. Luckily, I had 4 practices, and I absolutely went nuts in those practices. I had such good film, and from 7-on-7, from team, from one-on-ones. So I was blessed enough to get some college interest strictly from that. A couple weeks went on, and we were just waiting for COVID to end. And everyone knows COVID went on for a long time. So me and my friend Grant, me and him have been friends for 15 plus years, just about. Me and him just got this great idea that we're going to build a weight room in my apartment. I had an apartment that had an extra bedroom and no one was even there. So we were like, you know what? Let's build a weight room. So we went on YouTube. We found how to make a little squat rack out of wood planks, cement, and Home Depot buckets. We were just working out every day, literally every day. And then my homeboy Jamal, who's in the military now, but he was a receiver at the time, and all 3 of us just worked out every day. Grant didn't play football anymore. He's a firefighter now, but me and Jamal were on the football grind to get to the next level of college football. Running routes, lifting, same day. And we also had a quarterback that would come with us. We had 2 quarterbacks. We had Ben Woolridge and we had Dylan Graham. Those are both my guys, man. They both played college football. So as we're on the grind, this is June, I get a DM on Twitter. Coach Thompson, Florida State, talked on the phone for about an hour. And he just wanted to see all the stuff that I was doing. He wanted to see workouts, routes, blocking, everything. I play tight end, so I needed it all. A few weeks later, I get an offer from Florida State. I talked to Coach Norvell, the head coach right now at Florida State. He gave me the opportunity of a lifetime to be on full scholarship at a Power 5 school. That's what I wanted. They were my first offer, and then they just came rolling in. I committed in like 2 days. I just went to Florida State. They were my first one. Coach Thompson on the phone, he said, when it's time to make a decision, just remember who offered first. And I took that to heart because they took a chance on a Juco kid off of 4 practices. So fast forward, I enrolled at Florida State June 1st, 2021. And this was honestly such a surreal moment because all this stuff building up to me being at Florida State was honestly so crazy. Just the fan love that the Florida State fans have. Most of them, some of them are crazy. I mean, that's college football. The workouts, it's everything that I ever imagined. I took the summer workouts so seriously, but I also wasn't taking the off the field seriously. I was doing the most crazy stuff. I don't drink, I don't smoke. I've never done that in my life. That was not me. But I would just be out at the clubs with my homeboys, all that stuff, out till 3 a.m. every single weekend. And it was just not good. Like, yes, I would get my work done during the week. I would be doing workouts. I would never miss a workout to this day. Never have missed a workout. But I would just be hanging out. And as a college football athlete, there's a time and place. And I was trying to do both. You can't do both. There's some people, yes, you hear these stories, but it just did not work for me. And then fall camp comes around. Everything is going good. I'm learning the playbook. I mean, I'm making mistakes. I mean, I'm a freshman. I was an older redshirt freshman, but I had no college football real experience. So we get to fall camp. I'm going through it. I'm thinking I'm doing good. Then we go inside run. Boom. Concussion. Sideline for a week. And everyone knows fall camp is so important. And I was moving my way up the depth chart slowly. We did have some older guys that were better than me, obviously. But I was on my high horse. I'm thinking I'm going to be the shit when I get to Florida State. So I'm thinking I'm better than them, which I was not better than them at the time. I don't even know if I'm better than them. I'm good, but they are good players too. It's a Power 5 school. You're not going to be the top dog. That's just a reality check you got to have with yourself in the mirror. So boom, I get a concussion. I'm out. And then that really just knocked me out. I mean, the depth chart, I end up being on scout team my first year at Florida State. That's something that you do not want to be on. But I'm a freshman. That's something that normally freshmen are going to be on scout team. But I still had a great attitude. I would go to practice every day. I would get my ass whooped every single day. But I just remember just all the work that I put in during the summer. It just seemed like it didn't matter because I was just put in a position where I was a developmental guy. And I didn't know that. I honestly did not know that going into college. I didn't even know that not everyone traveled. So I was on scout team. I did not travel, and it was heartbreaking. Like, I was like, oh, what am I going to do? And mind you, the 2021 season for Florida State, we started off 0-4. That was the first time in Florida State history we lost to Jacksonville State, an FCS school. It was honestly the worst thing ever. And it was just crazy because we went toe-to-toe with Notre Dame week 0. We thought everything was going to be a good season because we got a standing ovation when we lost. When does that happen? I remember Coach Norvell coming in the meeting. He said, I've never seen a team get a standing ovation after they lose. So we're like, okay, we got something. And then we ended up going 0-4, and we ended up going 5-7 the entire season. But after week 4, I ended up breaking my middle finger with some ligaments, and that sidelined me again. I'm thinking, oh my God, am I ever going to get a break? And that sidelined me for a while. I still practice. I was body catching everything on scout team. I remember my strength coach told me, it's like, just go out there and body catch everything. So that's what I did. And then towards the end of the season, I tear my pec. That was probably the worst shit ever. I tore my pec. It just injury after injury. It just seems like I couldn't get a break. But luckily, this was at the end of the season, and I was already on scout team anyway. I wasn't going to play. But it just showed me that I was like, dude, you could get stripped of this at any given moment. So I'm going through rehab. I'm going through everything with my torn pec. And a few months go by where we start mat drills. Tour duty was the worst thing I've ever done. That's what Florida State calls their mat drills. It's 30 minutes on the mat drills, and you got individual, and it's 2 times a week. That was probably the worst workouts. I'm going to do a video on that another time. And in college football, after mat drills, normally you have a spring break, and then you start spring ball. So spring ball comes around. I'm fully healthy. My pec is good. My finger's good. No concussions. We go to first practice. We're doing ball security drills. I still remember I was with Coach Yak. That was the running back coach at the time. And we were doing ball security drills. And it was the drill where you put your hand on the ground. You got to run around the cone. And I broke my foot. Foot just snapped. And we go back. I'm laying on the ground. I'm crying. I'm not even crying because of the pain. I'm crying because, like, this shit hurt my heart. Like, it hurt my soul because, like, I was like, well, what am I going to do? Like, I just keep getting hurt. And that sidelined me the entire spring practice. I'm just doing rehab. I'm like, am I ever going to play? And I was like depressed at the time because, like, I'm just letting everyone down. It seems like I keep getting hurt. I'm letting the coaches down. I'm letting my family down. All the people back home, like, I had all this hype going up to Florida State until I enrolled, and I had hype in the summertime because I was like making plays during the OTAs, all that stuff, but it was just injury after injury after injury. And I guess that's just karma of all the bullshit I was doing outside of football. Maybe I was just hanging out too much. I don't know. Who knows? But if I could change that shit, I would have. I just felt like I wasn't really locked in when I was at Florida State. And then our exit meeting comes in. And for you guys that don't know what exit meeting is, it's normally after the season you have an exit meeting and after spring ball. So I am the first one to have an exit meeting with Coach Norvell. And I sit down in his office. I'm on a scooter, by the way. I'm on a fucking scooter, and because I couldn't walk. I had a fucking cast on. I'm talking to Coach Norvell, and he was saying, you know, I mean, it's unfortunate that you got hurt. He's like, I don't know if you're going to play. You're going to have to force me to play. You're going to have such a good camp, but I'm not going to promise you that you're going to play. And he's like, I don't think you're going to play this year. And me being young, I'm thinking I'm never going to play again. Like, I don't know what to do. And I've already had 3 years out of college football because I played in Juco. I really didn't have any game film. I didn't have any game film in 2021. So he had nothing to work off of. He just had a limited amount of practice that I had at Florida State and then me getting hurt. So he thinking I'm injury prone. I mean, it's pretty obvious. I could have been injury prone. I was not taking care of myself the way I do now. I'm thinking this coach doesn't even like me. And that was far not the case. Not even close to the case. So I took matters in my own hand and transferred. And nobody told me to transfer. Not my position coach, not the head coach. No one said anything about I should transfer. And I didn't even talk to my family. I didn't talk to my friends. I just went up to the compliance office and entered the transfer portal. An hour later, my position coach says, "Why did you enter the portal? We did not talk about this." And I was like, I just feel like I could play somewhere else. I really didn't have like any motive. Like I was just like, I want to go somewhere else. I know I could play somewhere else. And I didn't even think about the future. I just made an impulsive decision. And for you young athletes that are watching this, do not make an impulsive decision. Wait a week. That's the only thing I regret in my college career, was leaving Florida State. And I talked to my position coach, and he said, yeah, all these schools are calling you, all this, that, and the third. And mind you, Florida State then got a tight end already. They got a tight end. They replaced me really fucking quick. That shit happened like that. And I wasn't able to go back to Florida State. My position coach is saying all these schools are hitting me up. Oregon, Louisville, all this stuff. But I was hurt in the portal. They didn't know if I was going to be back the same. And I had a bunch of offers back in California. I had Sacramento State, UC Davis, and NAU out of the portal. And then Florida A&M came around right down the street from Florida State. And I was like, you know what? I don't even have to move. There's a Division I school right across the street. I enrolled at Florida A&M. So I'm going through summer workouts at Florida A&M. I'm like, these coaches want me to start. Like, I'm coming from Florida State. These coaches want me to start. We had 2 tight ends that were already there. I missed like the first week of fall camp because of my foot injury. So I was like limited, very limited. And then middle of fall camp, that's when I started really practicing. And we had a 3 tight end system, and I was the third guy. We had 2 older guys, and they were good players. I can't even argue. Like, I had a good camp, but they just had a better camp. And that season, my first year, my redshirt, that was technically my redshirt freshman season. It was all right. I had 3 catches for a touchdown and a catch against North Carolina. That was my first ever catch in college, was against North Carolina. And that was a crazy game. That might be a story time one of these days. So my first year at FAMU was cool. Like, I was locked in. I was like, okay, football is what's going to happen. Like, I need to, like, I've seen rock bottom, and I just left Florida State. I thought I had everything, and it just went away super quick because of me. So it's just really crazy to see how fast your life can really change. And then after my first year being at an FCS school at Florida A&M, you know, I was going in with a lot of momentum because I scored in the biggest game of the season, which is a rivalry game. So after that, we're going into the next season, 2023. I have all the hype. The position coach saying you could be one of the main guys of our offense, because we had Xavier Smith last year in 2022, who's on the Rams now, 1,000-yard receiver. He was really the only one getting the ball in 2022. But 2023 was a fresh slate for everybody. So we're like, okay, 2023 is happening. We had an absolute unit of a team. We just had a complete squad on the offense. And it was just like, holy shit, like, we have to win something. 2023, we ended up winning the HBCU National Championship. I had a better season that year. Still wasn't a breakout guy. I had 2 touchdowns. I had like 10 catches or something. And I had 2 hurdles though. So after the 2023 season, believe it or not, I was about to transfer. But I already went through this process once. And I wasn't going to make the same decision I did. So I called my people. I talked to them about it. And they talked me out of it. And really made me realize that I haven't done anything worthy enough to transfer. Because I felt like I was a Power 5 player, but I haven't shown that on film yet. So 2022 and 2023, I really was like halfway in, halfway up, because I wasn't really the guy. And I kind of had that mindset of I wasn't going to be, because there was 2 guys that were older than me that had more experience. So 2024 rolls around, and I went fully locked in. There was still a tight end that was on the team in 2022 and 2023, and me and him had a whole battle throughout the spring. But before we get there, I completely changed the way I did everything. I changed the way I ate, I slept, I worked out, I did things like a professional at this point, because I was like, I'm tired of not being the guy. So I was like, I put my foot down and I fully locked in whole year of 2024. Everything that I did was Call of Duty and football. That was it. And around springtime, spring ball starts, I killed the mat drills. We called it 4th quarter at Florida A&M. And mind you, Willie Simmons, that was the head coach from 2022 to 2023 when I was there. He moved to Duke. He was the running backs coach at Duke. Now he's the head coach at FIU. He left and we got a different head coach, but we kind of had the same staff. So there was still coaches that knew who I was, which was perfect in my situation. And spring ball comes around. I'm in the best shape I've ever been in. I'm killing it every single day. I look faster, stronger, moving perfect, running routes, putting people in the dirt when it came to blocking. I was actually going crazy. What I thought I was going to do at Florida State, I was doing that at FAMU. Yes, it was a smaller school, but I knew I always had it in me. My position coach at Florida State, he said, once you figure out all of the pieces and put them together, you will be a force. And I finally put all those pieces together. Shout out Coach Thompson. But I finally put them all together, and I was really on my shit. And I had an amazing spring, like I just mentioned. I got MVP of the spring, and I got MVP of the offense and most improved player all around. And then spring recruiting starts. I got one of my best friends, Carter Johnson. They bring in another tight end. I'm like, oh shit. So these motherfuckers don't even think I'm good enough still. So they brought in Carter, and he came from Pitt. He's a great player. One of my best friends, like I just mentioned. And it was me and him. We were running the show. We still had another tight end who was playing ahead of me the previous 2 years, and we just kicked him to the curb. It was the 6 and 8 show. We called that shit shake and bake. And me and him had great years. I had my first ever 100-yard game. I had 3 touchdowns, a bunch of catches, and I ended up getting an all-conference bid at the end of the season. And all that hard work I put in, it paid off. And our offense was absolutely rolling. Yes, we didn't have the season that we won. We had a few disappointing things that happened. We lost our home streak. We had, I think, a 32-win home streak in a row. We had not lost at home. We lost to the worst team in the conference. But we ended up going 7-5 that year. But I had an amazing year. Our offense was absolutely rolling. Lifelong friends. My coaches, I still talk to this day, even though I don't play for them. Those guys are something that I will always talk to. Coach Burris, Coach Henry, Coach Casey. Even my quarterback, he's over there DJing now. So I'm on my high horse, everything. 2025 comes around, and things are looking shaky. My position coach is no longer on payroll. And I didn't mention this, in 2022, our position coach, my tight ends coach, he had some medical issues, so he had to step away from us for a little bit. And then he ended up coming back at the end of the 2022 season, towards like the last 2 games, but he wasn't really doing much. And then 2023, he was with us, but our GA, our graduate assistant, Coach Casey, he was the one that was really running the show. The actual position coach that was on paper, he wasn't really doing much. It was Coach Casey running the show. But when 2025 came around in the springtime, he was not on payroll. He was not on the staff at this point. So I was going through spring practice with no position coach, and that was hard. Coach Burris was my quote-unquote position coach, but he was also the offensive coordinator and the quarterbacks coach. So we didn't really have any true tight ends coach. I was over there running the individual drills. I was teaching all the other tight ends. It was 5 of us at the time. So we were just going through drills, and then when it was time for routes on air or team, we would just go over there, and we just kind of plugged where we fit in at the time. And then I really thought hard and long in the mirror, and I was like, do I really want to stay at Florida A&M for my last year? I feel like I accomplished everything I needed. I won a national championship. I got all conference. Like, what else do I need to do? So I talked to my family, I talked to my friends, and I decided to enter the transfer portal. And I felt like that was the right thing to do because I didn't have a position coach. Everything was so uncertain of the program. So I was like, I'm going to do something for me for my last year. And I ended up hitting the transfer portal, and I blew up with offers. I got North Carolina. I got Pitt. I got Cal. And there was just all these schools that were reaching out to me. I was talking to Alabama, Tennessee, Vanderbilt. I had no business talking to these schools, I felt like, but they were all interested. Yes, I never got an offer from those SEC schools, but it was just a blessing that they reached out. I ended up going to Ball State. And I know I said that I regret leaving Florida State. I regret going to Ball State. For all of those younger guys watching, when it's time to make a decision to go to a school, whether that's in the transfer portal or if that is you're in high school, you have to make sure it is really where you want to be, because Muncie, Indiana is horrible. Yes, I had NIL money and I didn't look at the logistics. I never even did my due diligent research on the offense that these guys ran. I was just going for what they were telling me, and they showed me all this stuff from years in the past. Like, this wasn't recent, and I was just blind to it. Basically, I went to Ball State. I talked to Bill Belichick. I talked to all these other schools. Like, North Carolina was where I wanted to go, and I got talked into going to Ball State, which is my fault of my own. I can't blame anyone else. I just didn't do my due diligence, but it is what it is. So that last year in 2025, it didn't go as planned. Like, I told the coaches this is what I wanted to do, and I'm not going to put the blame on the coaches because it's my fault for even going there. You know, we tried to make our best. The offense wasn't how you expected. If you want to go look at the stats, go ahead and look at the stats. I don't want to badmouth anybody, but you know, it just wasn't a place that you want to be at. You live and learn. I learned a lot of good things there. I learned a lot of bad things there, but that's for another day. But that's how my college career really ended. It ended not on a high note. Ball State was cool. It was like, yes, it's an FBS school. That's what I wanted. Should I have gone there? I don't know. Do I regret going there? Yes. I'm just being completely honest with everybody. That's just how I feel. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat anything. Shit happens. And I've seen a thing or two. I've played at every level of Division I football, and I have seen some crazy shit. I have so many stories. I have so many experiences that I will share with everybody as time goes on. But I just wanted to share my base college experience, Power 5, Group of 5, and FCS. That's all 3 levels of Division I that there is. So not a lot of people do that, and I was lucky enough to be one of those guys. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, hear my story. I definitely will do a way more in depth of each year, maybe in the future if you guys enjoy this one. With all that being said, peace, love, and Soul Train. And if you like Call of Duty, go click on one of these videos over here. You might enjoy it, and you might, become more of a fan of Call of Duty again. But I will see you guys later.